Good morning, Dr. Gary here, Dr. Gary on the road. We are selling dental practices nationwide. So, interesting thing this morning. I think the theme of today's video, YouTube video, is keep moving forward no matter what the circumstances. Now, we'll get into this shortly, what's going on today. But anyway, we now have 10 employees. We're in 24 states. Next week, I leave for Utah. We're going to be looking at things around Salt Lake, Provo, and South. So we got, I think, 5 different offices to look at, and I'm excited. It's a new state for us to open up. I'm excited to travel and check a little scenery. On the way, we'll be going from Arizona up to Utah. Utah using Arizona as one of our base, Phoenix. But there's some beautiful national historic monuments, parks, and so forth that I may check out on the way up. We're passing that way anyway. You might as well check it in the wintertime. There's some beautiful areas. So, getting back to it. We now have the 10 employees. We're excited with 5 acquisition employees, 2 CPA accountants, a marketing director, and then we also have the new operations employee who had tremendous experience before. That's going to help us a lot. We are excited about that. This information you're about to hear is for entertainment purposes. It is not business or legal advice. We're available for you 363 days a year. We'll answer the phone from 7:30 a.m. till 9:30 p.m. East Coast time. Call us at any time, buyer or seller, and we're happy to give you some free advice anytime. Just call us. We'll talk. As you know, I was a dentist for 25 years, and now we're doing the dental practice brokerage, healthcare practice sales for 12 years now. So it's 12 years, and we're excited. We have no plans on retiring, and we're having fun every day. That's the best part of it. So, let's get on to, and our contact information is dentalpracticeguide.com. And our phone number, 201-663-0935. Let's get on to today. Right now, as of this morning, it's a Friday morning, waiting for a big decision on a pretty big deal. The seller and the buyer are getting together one-on-one. It's a DSO buying a private deal. And they just want the 2 of them on this. It's going to be a special phone call today. We've come a long way. I think we can, but we're not there yet. And we don't know which way it's going to break. It's kind of an emotional decision now. This contract negotiations have been going on. Changes of the contracts have happened. And whether it's going to go forward or not, we should find out today. Supposedly there's a phone call getting made earlier today. But with situations like this, you just can't sit around waiting for them to make a decision on what's going to happen. Whether you're a buyer, you're a seller. I mean, just this morning, I set up 2 appointments for a doctor, new buyer, to see 2 practices. One of the practices has an interested buyer on it, but the buyer hasn't moved forward yet. So you've got to keep your backup plans going constantly. And if you're a seller, even if the buyer is excited, you've got to keep shopping and keeping other buyers going. When a buyer makes a letter of intent, generally 70% of those go through. When it's a private deal, higher percentage, 80% or so when it's a DSO deal. But there's always a percentage that falls apart. So this morning, I'm not waiting around for these guys to make a big decision. I just heard from one of the doctors in Utah confirmed their appointment. That's over $1 million practice. I'm excited to see that. Got the 2 appointments there. Took care of some motor vehicle registration stuff. You cannot hang around hoping everything's going to work out great. You certainly wish it will, but you can't hang around doing nothing. You've got to keep everything moving forward. So as a seller, unless there's restrictions, and sometimes there are, you don't ever want to shop a deal if a buyer gives you a letter of intent. You don't shop deals. But if the buyer, just gave you a letter of intent and there is no restrictions in there, what we try to do is at least have a backup buyer ready to go. In the wings, keep the backup buyer going. Again, don't shop the deal. We don't try to do competitive bidding with that. Keep that buyer moving forward. But unless there's restrictions, and sometimes there are restrictions, most of the DSO deals have restrictions that you can't show it to anybody else. You can't send the financials to anybody else, and we don't with those. And they have those restrictions. Private buyers, you generally don't have those restrictions as much. But if the buyer designates that he wants it off the market, you have to abide by that. But if not, keep the backup buyers going, keep them in the background, and tell them a deal may be going through, but if it doesn't, we want to get you in the second position. And as far as a seller, if the buyer is coming forward and it appears to be a good deal, do everything you can to move that deal forward, but you've got to have backup buyers because something could happen. You've got to keep that gate open all the time. And if there are restrictions on a deal, you can't bring anybody forward, but doesn't stop you from saying, we have some opportunities that may fall apart or may go forward. We don't know. We'll keep you posted. You can just give them some generalities about the deal. You can't give information about it. And you can't ever give away what the offer was. You got to keep that confidential. We don't get involved in that. It's called shopping a deal. We don't do it because we want to move on to the next deal. So we're excited to hear what's going to happen this morning. Yeah, I'm on little pins and needles here a little bit, but what are you going to do? I can't control it at this point. I gave it my all and everything I could do. We're hoping for the best on this deal. But on the other hand, we got other deals moving forward, and that's what you've got to do. Always keep your eye on the ball. Always keep moving forward. Don't make steps back. If things work out the way you want, fantastic, get on it. If it doesn't, you've already been working on your backup plan, and that's the way you have to work these things. Don't get frustrated, don't get crazy. Some of the decisions when you have a buyer and seller, after all the financials are done and all that and contracts, it does in the end come down to a gut decision. Do they feel comfortable going forward? And we as brokers, we're available basically every day. We're there to support them with information. But whether you're a buyer or a seller, if you want to make a decision and you're not sure what you want to do after you spoke to your buyer, after you spoke to your brokers, speak to your attorneys, you always want to get a decision based on knowledge of qualified individuals, accountants that have been doing this for 25 years. Other dental attorneys have been doing it for 20 years. Use the best knowledge you can to make a qualified decision. While a family member can support you, which is great, they may not have the tools or experience to make a qualified decision. So keep that in mind. And we have a situation like that right now. Hopefully the doctor is speaking to qualified individuals to make a decision of what direction they're going. We'll see what happens. We're excited, but we'll make it happen. Okay, next stop is going to be Utah. And we're very excited about the opportunities up there. I think there's 5 offices. And do a little traveling on the way up, so get a little excitement going on there. We'll keep you posted how Utah worked out. And New Mexico was great. We saw 3-4 practices down there. We're going to go back to New Mexico because we want to go up to that Santa Fe, Taos region, up that region north. We have to see them, but there was a snowstorm. We couldn't get up there. And I want to go back south down towards, there's a beautiful monument, National Monument Park. It's called the White Sands something. I've always wanted to check that out. It's these big sand dunes, and I can't wait to see them. Huge, thousands of acres of them. Supposedly you can go sleigh riding on them in the middle of the summer. So I may give it a try. Also, somebody called me from one of those UFO areas down there. I got a call. I have to go see a practice down there too. So we're going back to southern New Mexico. We're going to hit Utah next week, and then we already started on, I think it's Colorado, and then always have to go to Nevada. We also did Nevada. So Nevada's coming up too. We have a couple spots to see: Reno, Las Vegas, and a few other spots there. So we'll keep you posted on Nevada. We got to make the run out there. Thank you. Bye.